Okay. uh, I don't really have much interest in the Miss Marvel character, especially how it was all a forced character and was unnecessary. And yeah. So, but of course, they're going to pursue it, and they've cast the character with this girl named what is Iman Vellani, I believe, and there she is. She'll be Miss Marvel on the in a D plus series, and at some point, keeping with the story of the characters, that she's this huge fan of Captain Marvel. So I'm assuming she will meet Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. Turns out she's a huge fan of Brie Larson. Maybe a little too much. But here, it's a little funny. Before she knew she would be Ms. Marvel, she gave her a review of the Captain Marvel movie. And, she gave it 2 stars. And says, the stars are not for Brie Larson. See, she likes Brie Larson. I will sacrifice my own life for Brie Oh boy, that's kind of disturbing for a young girl to say. Gee, I hope someone's taking good care of her. So, but yeah, she's arguing it's not Brie Larson's fault. The movie's a bad movie. And in a lot of ways, she's right. That's not quite the case. I know Brie Larson came across as a plank of wood in the character, but the character was supposed to have had her memory and mind wiped and everything. Although she seemed pretty much like that before the mind wipe, as we saw her in her flashbacks and whatnot. So, so anyway, yeah, I was reading about this in a Screen Rant article, and the writer admits that despite the fact that the movie was a hit, making $1 billion, I think it's obvious if it hadn't been sandwiched between Infinity War and Endgame, and teased like you needed to watch it to appreciate the Endgame movie, which was not true. You did not need to see it. It didn't matter. Of course, she shows up in it, but well, so what? Without any of that, I don't think Captain Marvel would have been all that. I mean, it had some elements in it that were interesting, but it just falls apart. The story just kind of goes nowhere. And then a lot of forced crap done in it that pretty much diminishes the original story and takes it all away, which is kind of like, well, if you're going to make up an entirely brand new character, which is pretty much what they did, why bother with the name? Well, branding and whatnot, but all the versions of Captain Marvel in Marvel Comics were not that popular. And so there you go. But of course, this was all supposed to be a feminist film and have woke points and everything. And then they forgot that the first female Captain Marvel was a black woman. Yes, they forgot about that because they don't know, So apparently, out of embarrassment over the popularity of Wonder Woman, they decided they needed their own Wonder Woman, and they don't have one. I mean, they have great female characters in the Marvel Universe. A lot of them, unfortunately, are connected with the X-Men, so they didn't have that, but they do now, and that kind of thing. But they had Black Widow right there ready to go, so it seems like they could have done that. She gets her movie some point, thanks to the lockdown. We don't know when that'll ever come out, or it probably will end up streaming. It's just the situation they're in. But that movie should have been out 4 years ago or so. Could have had a trilogy out of it. But anyway, so yeah, it's kind of funny here. Although that's a disturbing comment. But she gave it 2 stars. She did not like the movie, and yeah, she's right. It was not a good movie, and it's certainly not on par with some of the other Marvel movies. Although Marvel movies, looking back at them, they don't come across as great as they did at the time. It's kind of a lightning in the bottle moment of that 10-year run, and some hold up. I think the Captain America films are really good, especially Winter Soldier, and I still like the first Iron Man. But a lot of them, yeah, I don't know. They found a template and they repeated it over and over. and stuff like that. But even that didn't work out so great for Captain Marvel. I suspect Captain Marvel 2 will involve Spider-Man. There was rumors that Spider-Man would appear in that, and that's what they'll need because they don't have Infinity War and Endgame, so they'll try to use Spider-Man. Despite the fact that I think the Spider-Man movies under Marvel are terrible. I'm in the minority in that. Those movies are very successful, and people just like Spider-Man. But that's not always going to work. If you recall, Amazing Spider-Man, Sony's last efforts at Spider-Man crashed and burned, so it's not always a surefire deal. But I think the rumor that he would appear in Captain Marvel 2 is probably likely, and that they'll try to use his popularity to prop up Captain Marvel. So, boy, even her own supposed fan is not really a fan. Well, she says she's a fan of Brie Larson, so, but she'll have to pretend to actually be a fan of Captain Marvel in her character. So, but since it's played by apparently her favorite actress, so maybe that won't be so hard for her to do. But yeah, not all. I have no real interest in the Ms. Marvel story. Maybe they'll pull something out of this and make it really good. That can happen. But I'm dubious because, this is Marvel's came out of tokenism is what it was. And but anyway, all the best for Miss Filani, and we'll see how that goes. But still, have some amount of respect for her, and she was able to see that was it's not that great of a movie. It really isn't. But hopefully, her series will do much better.
All right. Thank you for watching and listening. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. Hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr. Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.